Come on, bruh. Hello, my name is Kyle and welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about Jussie Smollett. Yes, you know the guy from last year or so, whenever it was. The guy who said that two Trump supporters in the middle of downtown Chicago, you know, the bastion of conservatism, attacked him, beat him up, put a noose around his neck, put some chemical on him, and whatever. So, you know the story, right? So I'm going to talk to you about that because the trial just kicked off, and I want to, just go through that, but also kind of give you up to speed as to where the case was. And we may have forgotten some of the other things that happened where charges were dropped and it was just this and that. And you got these two brothers from Nigeria. So we're going to go through this article, the CBS Chicago, and also an article from Fox News, which has some interesting evidence that's being presented by the prosecution that doesn't look too good for Jussie. So stick around for that. So let's jump right into this. This particular article is the mainstream media, CBS Chicago. Jussie Smollett trial. Prosecutor says Smollett fabricated racist. Homophobic attack. Defense says he was really a victim. You know what? That's one of the things, a problem I have with this, is that whenever we have Black people who truly are victims, okay, it's almost like they're marginalized because it's so easy now, if you're not a victim, to claim you're a victim, to get sympathy, you cry racism, you can do all sorts of things, claim that you're oppressed, whatever it is. If you're a victim, all of a sudden, you have so much power. That's one of the things I say a lot now, is that people who have this stigma, I'm gonna say this about Jussie, okay, whatever it is. In his case, I'm gonna say Black. All of a sudden, if you have that stigma on yourself and you put that out in the forefront, you're looking for things to say that's why things are happening to you. If your career isn't doing well, if you can't jump too high, if you can't get good grades, if you're not being successful in something that requires hard work or effort, you can blame, let's say, skin color or racism or systemic racism, all of that, to get you off the hook. It's a coping mechanism. And that's the way I see it. And if you see here in this case here, it seems that Jussie himself tried his best to push off the blame for whatever reason it is, to get revenge or whatever it is, to be an activist. You can call it yourself. If you look at him as his career, he's an actor on a show called Empire. And he did some other stuff too as an actor, as a younger actor, like the Mighty Ducks. And if you just look at him, you can kind of see that he has that element in there where he is a victim and he's crying that and being very, very vocal about it, which is one of the reasons why I think he got himself in this situation, because he really could have gotten off, I think, had he just kept his mouth shut. So let's talk about this here. So the jury started. The jury consists of 6 men and 6 women. And special prosecutor's name is Dan Webb. And he said in this particular opening statement, or whatever the prosecution was saying, that Smollett himself acknowledged that there was never a crime. And so what happened was, in case I mentioned it to you before, but again, supposedly the story goes, he was outside his apartment. He gets attacked by these 2 people. They do these things to him, put a rope around his neck. The cops come to his apartment and he has a rope around his neck. And according to the cops, he actually tightened it closer to his neck to make it look like it was, kind of like the whole thing with your boy Bubba Wallace did with that, with the noose hanging in the garage. I don't know what's up with nooses, man. But anyway, that was around his neck. And so there was also an association with 2 brothers from Nigeria who are part of this. They're witnesses against Jussie. Supposedly they were involved in that they were paid by Jussie to perform an attack on him, to create what I think this was to create a race hoax to attack the Trump administration, because this guy is obviously a leftist. And so, of course, all things have to be blamed of Republicans, have to be blamed on conservatives, because, again, if things aren't going your way, it's very easy to cry victim. And I think people many people, and people do not want to admit this, they use their race in particular as their god. They worship the color of their skin. It becomes an idol. And it's one of the reasons why I feel that it's so difficult for Black people in particular to get off of that and to move aside and see the world the way the founding fathers saw the world. And I know some of you may be saying, well, they're racist. The founding fathers saw the world, in this country in particular, as a place where all men were created equal. I know what some of you are saying. Look, they understood slavery was wrong. They wanted to fix it. They couldn't fix it given the situation they were in, but they created a document, a series of documents that allowed a future generation to fix the problem later. And that's one thing that this country has that no other country has, the ability to self-correct past ills. Founding fathers, and by the way, we're working on a video on this, hated slavery big time. They were in a quandary, but they hated it. They put in place for it to be resolved. Of course, it took another 100 years or 60, 80 years for the Civil War to kick in, for that to actually, come to fruition. But again, it's these false narratives that people like Jussie and other Black activists, Black nationalists, whatever you want to call them, take to put the burden of their responsibility on someone else, and particularly people they feel don't like them, like conservatives, which in actuality, it's really the other party that's doing the damage, but they don't see it that way. So enough of that. And so after the attack, there's even a text from Jussie to the brothers, or one of the brothers, saying, might need your help on the low, which means I might need your help on the down low, or I might need your help in secret. That's what that translates to. But this whole attack caused immense outrage across the country. People, celebrities, everyone jumped on the bandwagon saying that, oh my gosh, this poor Black man was being attacked by Trump supporters in Chicago, in the middle of the night, in cold Chicago. Give me a break. And they jumped on it. I mean, everyone got on this. I mean, I didn't, and most conservatives didn't. We saw through it. We knew it was full of crap. And the thing was, the media is pushing out these false narratives so much that people get bent up in emotion and get charged, and they go out and do stupid things. And we see this pattern over and over and over again. The media only cares about clicks, and there's also an agenda in the media to actually push forth an agenda. I think it's those two elements that really cause a powder keg every time something like this comes to light. And it just becomes insane, and it's hard to pull those false narratives back. People still think they're true. They think they're valid. Just like hands up, don't shoot. That has been proven false for years now, but people still chant that because that's what people think. They don't do their own research. And that's the problem with this whole thing. And that's why this is so dangerous. That's why looking at yourself through the lens of victimhood is incredibly detrimental, especially when you don't have a media to call strikes for strikes and balls for balls. When they are sided on the left or decided on the side of clicks, you get horrible representation, and the media, whose responsibility is to be the buffer between the people and the government, to tell things the way they are, not the way we want them to be, so that we can have a fair society, is gone. And we are very fortunate that Jussie wasn't too bright in this one, because otherwise, had this gone, this could have been way worse than anything in this country up to that point. And we saw it actually happen even worse when you saw Kenosha and you saw Minneapolis and all that. But however, this was the beginning of that, and the sentiment in this country was brewing off of lies, total lies and fabrications. And so here, I mentioned here, this came out yesterday, that JUSSIE Smollett did a dry run of his attack the day prior to the incident, prosecutors say. Surveillance videos may play a key role in JUSSIE Smollett's case. So what they're saying is, the prosecution is saying, is that we have video of you and the perpetrators doing a dry run on camera of the attack. And if this can be shown and substantiated and proven, then to me, this is an open and shut case. He's looking at some serious time here. I believe he's looking at 6 counts on 4 charges of filing a false police report. I think he can receive up to 3 years, I believe, maybe more. And so this is a serious deal here. So to back up, Kim Fox, who was, I guess, the prosecutor, recused herself and colluded supposedly with the DA and got the charges pretty much dropped, but gave him 16 hours of community service and $10,000 bond. And that sent outrage even between police officers, and even the ex-mayor came out and said this is crazy. They have information about this that we don't know yet, but it's going to come out in court, hopefully. And so after the charges were dropped, a special prosecutor came in and said, hold up. They refiled the charges, said that there's no double jeopardy because she recused herself and it wasn't the right process. So we can do this thing. And now he's looking at $130,000 in fines and multiple years of prison. And so, and so that really is what's going on here. That's the second day of the trial. I'll keep an eye on this. I'm not going to be too much into this, but I wanted to bring it up to speed of where we are. But if anything is breaking on this, I want to say it and tell you guys, because, we laugh at this whole Jussie thing, but it's so important to stomp out these potential sparks that can lead to huge fires, literally speaking, in people's minds, because the media is not going to play this honestly. They're going to exploit it for whatever they want, either for political gain or they're going to exploit it for their own financial gain, or both. And we've seen it in Kenosha, we've seen it in Wisconsin, we've seen it in Milwaukee, we've seen it, every place you can think about, we've seen it. It's a pattern, and we're getting very, very tired of it. Personally, it's costing people's lives, and it's undercutting credibility of our law enforcement, of our legal system, of race relations, just because people want to declare themselves a victim and they can't be man enough to stand up and say, hey, I got to do better myself. It's on me. What's your thoughts on this? What do you think about the Jussie Smollett trial? Do you even care? Most of you don't. And if you do care, what are your thoughts on the new evidence that could be coming out about they were staging a trial run and they had video surveillance of it? Please comment below. I'd be curious to know what you think. And of course, if you like what we do in this channel where we take pop culture and politics and filter to you in a conservative manner, then please consider clicking on some videos that we have picked out for you right here.